28 we are on the plateau top of Mount Purgatorio, and entering the forest of the earthly paradise. At left, Dante and Statius look ahead and upwards, shielding their eyes from the morning sun. Virgil looks down with an expression of melancholy pleasure. He is glad that he has successfully brought Dante this far on his way, but he knows his commission is ending. The Christian travelers are about to enter upon mysteries which he, as a pagan, is not allowed to even approach. They come to the stream Lethe, whose waters grant forgetfulness of one's sins. On the opposite shore, Matilda, the spirit of Lethe, is gathering flowers. Dante hails her, and she approaches to welcome them. She walks with feet together, for the poem describes her as approaching the brink with slow, close dance steps. Note the increasing sadness on Virgil's downcast face. In Canto 29, Matilda, from the other side of Lethe, leads the poets towards an approaching allegoric procession. This is the parade of the scriptural imagination. It is led by the 7 candlesticks which are the 7 spirits of God from the beginning of the book of Revelation. Next come 24 elders, who are the books of the Old Testament, holding up the volumes that embody them. Behind comes an empty chariot representing the church triumphant, drawn by a griffin whose dual earthly aerial nature makes him a traditional emblem of Christ, who is both human and divine. At the corners of the chariot would be the 4 beasts who represent the evangelists. We see the eagle for John and the lion for Mark. At the wheels of the chariot dance, above, the 4 natural virtues, courage, prudence, moderation, and fairness. Below, the theological virtues, faith, hope, and love. Behind the chariot, we can barely make out the personified books of the New Testament who end the procession. At right, Matilda is directing the poet's attention to the procession. We see, side by side, 2 separate moments. When Virgil and Dante turn from the parade to exchange looks of awe, and the moment from the next canto when Beatrice has appeared, and Dante turns to tell Virgil he feels the terror of his ancient love. Botticelli has captured the Eurydice moment which the text only suggests, when Virgil steps back and fades away. In the illustration to Canto 30, the procession has come to a halt. The 7 candles have turned back to look at the chariot, as have the books of the Old Testament, these latter with a particular meaning. They are hailing the coming of the griffin Christ as the fulfillment of their prophecies. Botticelli shows them victoriously roaring and holding their books aloft in triumph. We can now see that the griffin is bound to the chariot pole. In the poem, it is explained that the wood the griffin carries on his back, which draws the church forward, is the wood of the cross, made from a bough of the tree at which Adam fell. The chariot now shows all 4 evangelists, Luke as an angel in front, and John as an eagle at the other front wheel. In back are the lion Mark and the ox for Matthew. Following the chariot come the books of the New Testament. Particularly distinguished is Paul, who carries the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, from the epistle to the Ephesians. And in the rear, John, shown as traditionally dreaming, to indicate his visions of the apocalypse. Botticelli departs from the text by adding St. Peter with his keys and the 4 Latin fathers of the Church, Gregory in his papal tiara, Jerome with his flat cardinal's hat, and the bishops Augustine and Ambrose, who cannot here be told apart. Botticelli drew these rather than the books of the New Testament the text describes, because here there was a visual tradition that the viewer would recognize, while the meaning was roughly equivalent. We still have the various virtues dancing by the chariot wheels. The real subject of this illustration is, however, the appearance of Beatrice, in a shower of flowers thrown by a swarm of angels. We see the angels standing on the back of the chariot, and the flowers are given an unobtrusive acknowledgement in the pattern of posies that enlivens the space above the procession. In the text, Beatrice appears veiled and immediately gives Dante a terrible dressing down for his misspent life. Botticelli was clearly too busy dealing with all the pageantry to finish the rendering of Beatrice, but Dante looks quite suitably contrite.